Welcome to another episode of Small Talk. I was just thinking about how social media has changed our lives. I don't do Twitter or Instagram. I don't know much about them. I do Facebook, and I'm just thinking about how we meet people through Facebook that perhaps we'd never run into otherwise. Today's guest is a prime example of somebody who I met on Facebook, and I'm meeting him in person for the first time today. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean MacDonald. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
I don't know whether I should call you Sean MacDonald or Sean McGlam.
Well, either way, it's kind of a family issue. My birth name's McGlam.
Oh, okay. But why do you call yourself MacDonald then?
Well, I ended up in Alberta. I ended up working casinos. I needed a passport. It was a family issue. It's kind of hard to explain.
Okay, so we're not going to go there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's basically a legal name in another province.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were born in Vancouver, I understand?
Yes.
And then at some point you moved to Alberta?
Mom remarried when I was younger, so we posted. I've lived in Bermuda. I lived in Queen Charlotte for a while. I've lived in Vancouver, all over Vancouver. I lived all over Alberta for 45 years, basically, right. All over northern Alberta, setting up out-of-town casinos for years, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, all right. Well, so, you mentioned Bermuda?
Oh yeah, I lived in Bermuda for 2 years. My stepfather was in the armed forces.
Oh, I see. So yeah, so that meant you traveled a lot through that.
Yeah, through that, and then they got divorced, and then I basically went out on my own. So,
right.
Yeah.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have lots. Two natural brothers, a natural sister, a half brother, and a half sister. Yeah.
Any children, or should I ask?
I have a daughter. Yeah.
You never know, right?
A daughter and a half daughter, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, great. And so then, at some point in your life, you went to Alberta.
Yeah. Basically, like it says, I started out in casinos in Alberta for years. I did casinos for about 20, 25 years.
So what did you do in casinos?
Oh, I was a licensed crap dealer one time.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah, one of the first in Canada. About the first 500 in Canada was actually had a licensed crap dealer.
Oh, I never knew. Like, I've never played craps, so I don't know a lot about it. But I find that kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting life, but you know, it has its setbacks too. After a while,
In what way?
Monotonous. You live alone. You really do. You're quite secluded. You don't have much of a life unless you're actually a forward social type person, really.
Okay, wait a minute now. You're secluded. Why? Is that because you were...
Well, you know, because you're working strange hours mostly.
Oh.
When you start out, you're working from 2 till 2 in the morning,
right.
4 till 2 in the morning. It's an odd shift. You're working weekends. It's not much of a life to it after a while. Very a lot of glitter and glamour getting into it, and there's a lot of educational reasons for doing it, and there's a lot of community support for casinos and stuff. But as a personal thing, I decided to move on.
All right. Okay. When you were working at casinos, have you ever met anybody who was like a big time gambler?
Oh, lots. I met casinos, games managers, casino owners from all over the world, Macau, China. And speaking of celebrities, I met Wayne Gretzky. I met most of his staff, most of the team. They all came in and played blackjack at my tables.
Right.
Yari Curie from.
Who?
Yari Curie. Couldn't speak English, had an interpreter to show him how to play. I taught him how to play blackjack.
That's so, pretty fast.
I've met a few people that way. Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. What about like gamblers who are really addicted, like losing money and keep coming back?
Yeah, that's part of why I pushed away from it. There was a story near the end. There was a little Oriental fellow. He was crying in the middle of the casino floor, and me and a pit boss walked over to him, and he had just lost $400,000.
Oh my goodness!
But previously he had given up his house, he had given up his car, he'd lost his wife, his family, and he couldn't explain it. He
wow.
was just, you know, it was
an addiction. Yeah,
it was gone, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, another fellow, an older fellow. On the latter side of that note, an older fellow owned 3-4 sections of land in Alberta, and he was squandering it. He was just gambling it away. He'd sell off a section and he'd go in and he'd gamble. That was his livelihood.
Yeah, right.
And he did that for years and years and years. And when I finally left, he was down to maybe a couple quarter sections of land, and that was it.
It's sad, isn't it?
It's just that type of life, right?
Yeah.
So, no, it can be a lot of fun. You know, like I like to play roulette, you know, or things like that. I don't like watching TV, so the slot machines don't impress me much, things like that. But I am a games designer. I wrote a book about a game I designed, so...
Well, let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
We just happen to have a copy right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about your book.
I wrote a book. I'm sitting in a snowbank in Alberta, 5 years without heat and power. I ran an extension cord to the neighbor's trailer. That's all I had was a little propane heater, a coffee maker, my computer, and an alarm clock in case somebody phoned me up for a job.
Right.
5 years, and I just sat and wrote and wrote and wrote, and then finally some guy, the owner of the cab company, came up and pounded on my door, says, "You want to come drive a cab?" The money I made in the first year published my book.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of fascinating. So it's about a game. Your book is about a game,
Basically
right?
about a game. It's a fantasy story based on a game, on a board game. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about your book, and I love the cover. It's really a fascinating cover. So tell me about this, the cover.
Well, the cover, self-published books, they take a lot, and I'm a graphic artist, like I said. I had some ideas and some designs. Part of the reasons why I wrote the book was I wanted to get into animation. I wanted to start doing some animation, so I needed some storyboard ideas. Thumbing through the publishing, iUniverse has a publishing program where they offer cover ideas, and they offer suggested packages for covers and stuff. And this picture stood out like a sore thumb. $100, threw it in.
Right.
I really like it, and the story is there's a storyline based on a dragon in the story. Actually.
Oh, in the stories, but okay,
Yeah.
great. So you mentioned animation. So do you do animation?
I used to. Now I'm gardening. I've been looking for reasons to go back into artwork. Coming from Alberta, I basically took what I could to get here. Like I said, I was living in a snowbank. Rent was overdue. So I brought all my artwork here, as well as some 4-foot, I got a 4-foot saw blade and a bunch of 2-foot saw blades I got from a millwork I was there. So I was going to do some acrylic or oil work on that as well. Get back into the book idea. This is actually a first book of a trilogy. I've already written half the second book, and the third book already has an outline. So, yeah, I really want to get back into doing the pencil work, but I'm liking my gardening right now.
You've certainly taken a lot of twists and turns through your life. I kind of find it fascinating.
The same thing. I came here from Alberta in the cold. My mom was falling ill. She was a gardener. She had a beautiful garden, but it had lapsed for 2-3 years. But she grew perennials like crazy. You could just like. It took me about 6 months to straighten out her garden, and finally she fell ill again. So we ended up selling the house. But I inherited the garden, so it is amazing. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and now I'm getting into bonsais. And with that, I needed some kind of plants because it wasn't enough to get into the markets like I wanted to.
Okay, so just so people understand, you make planters right now, right?
Chilliwack Ragtime Planters.
Right.
It's a cemented cloth idea. It's a great indoor-outdoor idea. I'm not a plastic user. It's something to dress up the garden. And it really works at the markets. So when I came here, I was hoping to sell fruits and corn, basically, but it seems like everybody grows their own, so it's kind of tough. Right. And again, with the plants and things, you want to get something unique out there. So again, following my career as an artist and coming up with new ideas, the planters works really well. So same with the bonsai, I'm going to get after that. I'll get some really fancy ideas in there.
Right. And some of these detours you took was just basically to survive or to, like when being a taxi driver, for instance, right? You needed an income at that point, right?
Yeah, me in the social media world, like I could go back, like I'm born and raised on a carnival. I have no problem making any money at all. So it's just a matter of doing it the right way and getting people to appreciate it.
Yeah. So you mentioned being born and raised in a carnival?
Yeah, my first job, I was 6 years old. I ran coffee at the P&E. I used to run high, top speed from one end of that midway to the other, running back with, chicken dinners and, barbecue this and, I want some of the pierogies. Go up to the pierogi house, get me some pierogies. And when I was 7 years, the second year, 17 days, I came out with about $1,200 in tips.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
As a 7-year-old.
As a 7-year-old.
Oh my goodness! Were you supporting your family?
No, but it did help.
I'm just thinking, you know.
No,
I mean,
it did help.
for a,
So,
for a 7-year-old, that's a lot of money, right?
my first carnival game, I was 11 years old. I had the little machine gun, you shoot out the star game.
Yes.
Oh yeah, make some money doing that too.
Okay, so this is so fascinating. Tell me, what else? You have to have done other things in there. I mean, I can't believe you haven't. What haven't you done?
Well, I worked a mill for 10 years.
What did you do in the mill?
I ran the trim saws. I was actually a lumber grader. I just had to go get a ticket for it.
Right.
I ran 2 seasons. There's 3-year ticket to actually grade lumber.
Right.
That was actually quite a job. But then the mill burnt down. And that was and then the recession hit. So that was kind of tough while I was living in a snowbank. I've had my share of carpenter, electrician. Living in northern Alberta, I own three motorhomes at one time, so I learned how to be maintenance. I've done lots of maintenance, so carpenter, electrician, plumbing, all kinds of stuff. So I really know how to survive.
Yeah,
if
sounds like
I need to, right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was always in the bush. I was Boy Scout, all kinds of stuff. So I really like nature. Growing up, my grandmother's, I was always in the garden.
And then you're right back to it now.
Yeah, so gardening was always my trick. And living in Alberta, it was like living in exile, you know, snowbank after snowbank, because there's not much of a garden out there. So getting back here, it was like, okay, well, now I'm chained here. I'm not going back. So yeah, it's really quite exciting for me. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Oh, it's been fascinating. I mean, there's just so much packed into this short time. You know, I'm sure we could explore more, but unfortunately, we are out of time.
Yeah.
But it's been really great. So I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy, for having me.
All right.
It's been great.
And thank you for watching. Hope to see you again. In the meantime, peace out. Oh, good one. I like that.